Hello and welcome back to today's lesson on blood types. So we're going to talk about how you identify blood types and what the difference between type A, type B, type O, type AB, all of that is when you go to give blood or when you go to the hospital and need blood. And so at the end of this, you will be able to describe the differences in blood types, distinguish between antigens and antibodies, and you can identify who can receive type A, type B, type AB, and type O bloods, along with who can give or who can donate to those people. We'll talk about Rh positive, Rh negative blood, and we'll look at the impact Rh factor has on pregnancy for those of you that will someday carry a child. So blood types, there are three types of blood that we have in our bodies. They are A, B, and O. So blood cells have what's called antigens on them. Antigens are identification proteins. You will need to know that an antigen is an identification protein, and an antibody recognizes foreign materials and marks them for disposal. So these are two words that are similar in name, have totally different functions, totally opposite functions. So we're talking about blood types. Type A blood has type A antigens and type B antibodies. So A is the protein on the blood cell. The B antibodies are looking for blood that's got this different protein on it so it can be destroyed. Your B is the opposite, has the B antigens and A antibodies. AB has both types of antigens, so it's kind of a combo A and B. A antigens, B antigens. And because it's got both of these antigens, there are no antibodies. And then O is the opposite. O has 0 antigens, and because there are no antigens, it's got antibodies ready to destroy your type A and type B blood. Okay, so again, so this red blood cell here, it would be type A blood, has A antigens. Type A blood can accept either other type A blood or type O blood if we ignore Rh factor. Type B, again, B antigens, A antibodies, so this can accept B or O. AB, because it's got antigens for everything, it can accept all types of blood. This is called the universal recipient. It can accept A, B, AB, or O. And then type O over here has 0 antigens, 0 proteins on it. It's just a red blood cell. This is called the universal donor because everybody can take type O. Again, we're ignoring Rh factor at this point, but we'll get to that here in a second. Speaking of Rh factor, this is a different type of antigen. And so it does the same thing as type A. So they could have made it type C if they wanted to. But they didn't. They decided to call it something else because it is found on all types of blood. And so if you are Rh positive, you have this Rh antigen, so there is no Rh antibody. If you're Rh negative, you do not have the antigen, no antigen, so it does have an Rh antibody. This becomes really important when we talk about pregnancies and having kids. If you are a female with Rh factor, if you are Rh positive, you have no antibody for Rh factor, so you can have a child that's either positive or negative because there are no antibodies in your system. So nothing's going to happen. If you are Rh negative, for example, if you're A negative, O negative, AB negative, anything negative, and let's say you have a child with somebody that's positive. If your first child is Rh negative, there's no issue. So if you're negative and your baby is negative, no problem. But let's say you had a child with someone who's Rh positive. If that child becomes Rh positive, you will develop this antibody. And the first time won't be an issue. But your next child, if it is Rh positive, your body will destroy that blood and the baby will be lost. So if you're Rh negative as a female and you get pregnant, you're looking to have a kid, this is good to be aware of. They can give you a shot that will prevent this from happening. Just as a safety measure, even if you're not sure, you can get the shot, which will keep your baby alive. It won't cause issues. So there's an anti-Rh antibody shot that they can give you that will protect your baby's blood from being destroyed by yours. But that's Rh factor, and that's how it kind of works with pregnancies. So again, these are your blood types. You have A antigens, you have B antigens, you have AB, which has both antigens, and you have O, which has neither. And again, reminder that that Rh factor is just another antigen, just another thing sticking out here. So if there was another piece, we'll call it a triangle. This one would be Rh positive. So this would be an AB positive individual, as they have all of the antigens that blood can possibly have. Okay, and so that's how Rh works. Rh factor works. That's kind of how your blood types come to be. And then this is what happens. This is why if you are type A blood, you cannot receive type B blood, because these are your antibodies here. And so if you get type B blood, this is what's going to happen: is those antibodies are going to link together, and this is going to cause a massive blood clot, which is not going to be good for your health. And that's why when you go to the doctor, when you go to the hospital, they have to be very careful about making sure you're getting the right kind of blood. And this is why type O blood is preferred, because if they're just giving you red blood cells, there's no antibodies there, and there's no proteins to latch onto. And so that is why type O is often used, is because there's no safety concerns. It's going to be fine regardless of the receiver's blood type, and everything's going to work out just fine. Okay, so here are your review questions on blood types. So make sure you work through these. If you have questions, please make sure you ask. We'll review this quite a bit in class to make sure we're on the same page. But this is going to be really important to be familiar with moving forward. But thank you for your time and attention today. I look forward to working with you again next time, and I will see you back in class.